Hello, good morning. I hope you're having or have had a blessed day. I'm going to talk fast a little bit right here real quick because my phone is dying again. I need a new phone, y'all. I can't really afford one right now, and so we do what we can. But because I need a new phone on a regular basis here lately, it seems like I'm fighting a dying battery first thing in the morning. So here we go, because no time for fooling about. Pray. About everything we always talk about. Pray. And then be quiet and listen. Joshua chapters 5 and 6 today. When all the kings of the Amorites to the west of the Jordan and all the kings of the Canaanites by the sea heard that the Lord had dried up the waters of the Jordan before the Israelites until they crossed over, their hearts melted, and they were utterly dispirited because of the Israelites. On this occasion the Lord said to Joshua, "Make flint knives and circumcise Israel for the second time." So Joshua made flint knives and circumcised the Israelites at Gibbeth-Hadath. Now that Gibbeth-Hadath in Hebrew just means like mountain of, I don't know how to say it and it not be sound. Hill of foreskins. Mount of foreskins, hill of foreskins. It's just where they circumcised everybody. Anyway. So why'd they do that, right? All of the people who had come out of Egypt, every male of military age, had died in the wilderness. Right? We're in a different generation. During the journey after they came out of Egypt, though all the men who came out of Egypt were circumcised, none of them born in the wilderness during the journey after the departure from Egypt were circumcised. Now the Israelites wandered 40 years in the wilderness until all the warriors among the people that came forth from Egypt died off because they had not listened to the voice of the Lord. For the Lord swore that he would not let them see the land he had sworn to their ancestors to give us, a land flowing with milk and honey. It was the children of God. It was the children God raised up in their stead, whom Joshua circumcised. For these were yet with foreskins, not having been circumcised on the journey. When the circumcision of the entire nation was complete, they remained in camp where they were until they recovered. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Today I have removed the reproach of Egypt from you." Therefore the place is called Gilgal to the present day. I have removed, or I have taken something off you, Gilgal. Okay, that's. Remember, a lot of these names in Hebrew mean exactly what it seems like they would mean at the moment. While the Israelites were encamped at Gilgal, on the plains of Jericho, they celebrated the Passover on the evening of the 14th day of the month. On the day after the Passover, they ate the produce of the land in the form of unleavened cakes and parched grain. On that same day, after they ate of the produce of the land, the manna ceased. No longer was there manna for the Israelites, who that year ate of the yield of the land of Canaan. While Joshua was near Jericho, he raised his eyes and saw one who stood facing him, drawn sword in hand. Now, hold on. Joshua went up to him and asked, "Are you one of us, or one of our enemies?" He replied, "Neither. I am the commander of the army of the Lord. Now I have come." Now, I'm the commander of the army of the Lord. That tells you that it's not the Lord. I have come. That tells you he represents the Lord. This is clearly an angelic figure that is leading the army. There's a lot of theology about this, about who it is. I think it's God. I don't know how to make this more plain. He replied, "Neither. I am the commander of the army of the Lord. Now I have come." I'm not a man, but I'm not God. Right. The army of the Lord. It's not my army. You can't say I'm my army. Yeah, right. So anyway. Joshua fell down to the ground in worship and said to him, "What is my Lord to say to his servant?" The commander of the army of the Lord replied to Joshua, "Remove your sandals from your feet, for the place on which you are standing is holy." And Joshua did so. Chapter 6. Now Jericho was in a state of siege because of the presence of the Israelites. No one left or entered. And to Joshua the Lord said, "I have delivered Jericho, its king, and its warriors into your power. Have all the soldiers circle the city, marching once around it. Do this for 6 days. And on the 7th day he rested. I'm sorry, but listen. Do this for 6 days, with 7 priests carrying ram's horns ahead of them on the ark. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times, and have the priests blow the horns. When they give a long blast on the ram's horns, and you hear the sound of the horn, all the people shall shout aloud. The wall of the city will collapse, and the people shall attack straight ahead. Yeah. 7 days. The Bible isn't consistent. Summoning the priests, Joshua son of Nun said to them, "Take up the ark of the covenant with 7 of the priests carrying ram's horns in front of the ark of the Lord." And he ordered the people, "Proceed and surround the city, with the picked troops marching ahead of the ark of the Lord." When Joshua spoke to the people, the 7 priests who carried the ram's horns before the Lord marched and blew their horns. And the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them. In front of the priests with the horns marched the picked troops. The rear guard followed the ark, and the blowing of horns was kept up continually as they marched. But Joshua had commanded the people, "Do not shout or make any noise or outcry until I tell you. Shout. Then you must shout." So he had the ark of the Lord circle the city, going once around it, after which they returned to camp for the night. Early the next morning, Joshua had the priests take up the ark of the Lord. The 7 priests bearing the ram's horns marched out in front of the ark of the Lord, blowing their horns. Ahead of these marched the picked troops, while the rear guard followed the ark of the Lord, and blowing the horns was kept up continually. On this 2nd day, they again marched around the city once before referred into the camp, and for 6 days in all they did the same. Yeah. So in 6 days they have encircled it 6 times, right, once a day. Doing the same thing. On the 7th day they're going to do it 7 times. They're going to make all 6 of those, and then 1 for that day, right? Then everybody's going to shout aloud. On the 7th day, beginning at daybreak, they marched around the city 7 times in the same manner. On that day only did they march around the city 7 times. The 7th time around, the priests blew the horns, and Joshua said to the people, "Now shout, for the Lord has given you the city. The city and everything in it. The city and everything in it is under the ban. So, except for destruction, right? Only Rahab the prostitute and all who are in the house with her are to live, because she hid the messengers we sent. But be careful not to covet or take anything that is under the ban. Otherwise, you will bring upon the camp of Israel this ban and the misery of it. All silver and gold and the articles of bronze or iron are holy to the Lord. They shall be put in the treasury of the Lord." As the horns blew, the people began to shout. When they heard the sound of the horn, they raised a tremendous shout. The wall collapsed, and the people attacked the city straight ahead and took it. They observed the ban by putting it to the sword, all living creatures in the city, men, women, young and old, as well as oxen, sheep, and donkeys. To the 2 men who had spied out the land, Joshua said, all right, I want to just real briefly, I don't know how much time I got, my phone may die, I don't know, but listen, it's important. Why is it so brutal? Because if you allow Islam, right, not right now, but later, if you allow Islam to survive at all, they will always eventually take back over. Always. If you don't believe that, go look at how many nations were. Go look at how much of the world was Christian before Muhammad started his holy wars. And then go look at how much of the world was Christian after World War I. Go look. I understand that the Turkish Empire, one of the last big, the Ottoman Empire, right? Sorry. Because that confuses people now with modern day Turkey. Not that. The Ottoman Empire lasted until basically the end of World War I. Go look and see what they did. And understand that they did that because they were allowed sanctuary. They were allowed to stay there. That's why God is like, no, none of them. Get rid of every being in that city, everything alive. And that sounds terrible, because it is. From the 12-year-old to the 90-year-old, doesn't matter. But if you look at the modern world and what has happened in the last 200 years even, boy, it becomes real clear why. Okay. To the two men who had spied out the land, Joshua said, "Go into the prostitute's house and bring out the women, and bring out the woman with all her family, as you swore to her you would do." The spies entered and brought back Rahab, with her father, mother, brothers, and all her family. Her entire family they led forth and placed outside the camp of Israel. The city itself they burned with all that was in it, but the silver, gold, and articles of bronze and iron they placed in the treasury of the house of the Lord. Because Rahab the prostitute had hidden the messengers whom Joshua had sent to reconnoiter Jericho, Joshua let her live, along with her father's house and all her family, who dwell in the midst of Israel to this day. I don't know if we're going to talk about this. We only got a paragraph left. I'll read it, and if it doesn't, we'll talk about it a little bit. On that occasion, Joshua imposed the oath, "Cursed before the Lord be the man who attempts to rebuild this city." Oh, this is actually brought to fulfillment in, oh man. When? Oh man, I don't know if I can remember. During Ahab, I don't like saying Ahab because it sounds stupid, but Ahab, during his reign, they do rebuild Jericho. And I don't remember, but it does get, this comes to complete fruition during that time. I can't remember all of it right off the top of my head. I do apologize. Cursed before the Lord be the man who attempts to rebuild the city, Jericho. At the cost of his firstborn will he lay its foundation, and at the cost of his youngest son will he set up its gates. Thus the Lord was with Joshua, so that his fame spread throughout the land. So they didn't really mention it. They kind of. So in 25 here, Rahab is the wife of Solomon later. Maybe now, I don't. But she is. And when you trace Christ's lineage, it goes back to them. What's my point? The unbelievable consistency of the Bible, that this woman was put in a position to protect these spies, these reconnoitering the land, right? And that she was then allowed to live with her whole family, and that her family is within the lineage of Christ. It's all on purpose, right? And it's all very, very right. The Bible is unbelievably consistent, and it always points back to itself if you just read it. And I would like to encourage you, if you're agnostic or something, you're just giving these things a listen sometimes, or something like that, to go read like Thomas Aquinas, who does not approach to begin with faith. He always approaches it with logic, with reason, as to why you should be faithful, as to why there is a God, and why you should, right? He doesn't do it. He doesn't do like many, especially religious philosophers, starting with faith. He starts with logic and reason, very Aristotelian. I encourage you to go read some of that, or Blaise Pascal, his Pensives. So good, so good. I'm weird, but I enjoy the Pensives a lot. I have them right here somewhere. No, they may be in the living room. Nah, it doesn't matter. Don't allow other beings on this earth to determine or dictate how you think. The point of reading things for yourself and doing research and beginning to see how that world works is to learn how to think. While most of the world right now, especially now, just wants to teach you what to think. I just had a huge thing with this right here. I didn't even get to go because I have issues. But I'm always invited, and I usually go. I love it very much. But this one was on. It's a colloquium. You can look that up if you want. But this was on the university, right? And the ideas behind the university and what it was supposed to be and do and how it's supposed to function. And how far we've come from that. Just try to study things and research things for yourself so that you can eventually come to a place where you can think for yourself. Instead of being told how to think and what to think, so you can determine for yourself what is going on. Because learning how to think is differently than being taught what to think. Right? Anyway, go read Blaise Pascal. Go read Thomas Aquinas. If you got a little faith but you still struggle with stuff, like lust specifically, go read Confessions. Right, by St. Augustine. Good stuff. And if you say Augustine, you're wrong. Augustine. Augustine, Florida. Augustine, Florida. It's Augustine. I don't care if you live there. All right. Anyway, I love you. Jesus Christ loves you a whole lot more. I hope you have a beautiful, blessed day. See you tomorrow.